Hello, this is Joshua for Frost Dragon Designs, and today I'd like to talk to you about my Honeycat Ranger hard enamel pin. Every month in 2023, I'll be releasing a new standalone RPG cat. This month's design is the Honeycat. Now the Honeycat is special though because there's not only going to be the black cat version of the Honeycat, but there is a special Plasmoid version of the Honeycat where the fur color, instead of being black enamel, is a translucent orange color to mimic the color of honey. So let's get into the design. So you're probably already thinking, what is a Plasmoid and why does he want this cat to be the color of honey? So I'm going to go back a little bit here. In Dungeons & Dragons, there is a specific setting called Spelljammer. I have never played Spelljammer, but it's pseudo sci-fi fantasy-ish. And one of the races that you're allowed to play is called a Plasmoid. These are like slime people, basically. They're made of goo, they're amorphous, they can change their shape, they can be different colors. And without even ever reading the book for Spelljammer, when I just heard this concept, I was like, I love this concept. And I also happen to love the Swarmkeeper Ranger. And it didn't take me very long to think about the idea of kind of a slime character who was the color of honey, who was a Swarmkeeper Ranger, who had a swarm of bees. And because I like cats, and I do a lot of things with RPG cats, I was just thinking, Honeycat. This would be such an awesome character. And so if I ever get to play in a Spelljammer campaign, I believe I will be playing as Honeycat. But since it's unlikely that I will get to play in a Spelljammer campaign, I decided that I would memorialize this character concept in pin form. Now, I also have what I'm calling the Black Magic Honeycat, which is the one with the black fur that would be more expected for the Black Cat RPG collection. But I still thought that it would be really cool to just make 100 of the true Honeycats where the fur color was that translucent orange to make it look like honey, to really sell this Honeycat concept that I had stuck in my head. So beyond that, the rest of this concept really is a true ranger. It is a Swarmkeeper Ranger. And most of my rangers I like to have bows and arrows. I'm sure eventually I'll do one that's either dual wielding or as a melee ranger. But for me, when I think about rangers, I always think bow and arrow. So that's why almost all of my ranger pin designs are wielding bows and arrows. But this isn't just any ranger. So in addition to coming up with a snazzy ranger design, I also needed to find a way to show the swarm of creatures that they control in pin form. Now, my understanding of the game mechanics is that these are not actual bees in this case. You can have any creature you want, I believe, as your swarm, anything small. But they're not actual bees, or they're not actual rats, or not actual fairies. Whatever you have a swarm of, they're not actually that. They seem to be like woodland sprite spirit creature things. So the idea for me was, how am I going to represent that swarm in a pin? I mean, it's already difficult to get good details in a pin itself for the character, let alone something that is supposed to be, very tiny like that. So I decided my best course of action was to probably have some sort of a magical spell cloud looking effect around the character. And the more I started thinking about this, the more I was like, what would help sell this as like a magical effect and not just like this strange shadowy shape behind her, is if I used glitter. That way it actually like sparkled like magic. Like, I thought that was a really cool way to show that this is not just a cloud behind her, but this is a magical effect that's going on here. So the glitter that I used for the true Honeycat is kind of a golden color. The glitter that I used for the Black Magic Honeycat is a deep purple blue. I think it's more purple than blue, but it's that kind of a shade of color. And I think that for both versions of this pin design, that really sets off the design. And actually, I believe this is the first time that I have used glitter in one of the Black Cat RPG designs. But while this pin does have something extra, it does have that glitter, which none of the other pins have had, I still needed to make sure that the design itself was a solid design and looked cool. Because, you know, I didn't know when designing this, maybe at the last minute I was going to change my mind and not do the glitter. I'm glad I did because these look really good in person with it. But, you know, making sure that the core of the design was solid was really important to me. So I started thinking to myself, what else can I add to this design that will help sell the story of Honeycat? And I just thought, you know what, maybe she carries around like a beehive. Now, like I said before, these aren't real bees. These are like spirit creature things. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they wouldn't enjoy having a place to inhabit. So I thought that that would be kind of a fun piece to have. Like she's got this beehive that she's carrying around like a backpack for her swarm. I also wanted to add in a sword because this sells the whole ranger concept, you know, being able to survive in the wilderness, having the tools that you need to, you know, chop down plants or sharpen sticks or whatever it is that you do out there as a ranger. So it was important to me that she have some sort of a melee weapon. And I settled on a sword. I could have gone with an axe, but swords are very classical. And honestly, I don't have a lot of axes on the characters, and I like to copy and paste elements from other designs. So the sword that she has is probably the same sword as 2 or 3 other Black Cat RPG designs. Now, I mean, the biggest reason that I do that sort of thing is because it's efficient to copy and paste rather than to redraw again. But it also helps build continuity within the collection. If the swords all seem to have a very similar tip curve to them, if all the faces look almost identical, if, you know, whatever element that I'm borrowing, if you see it multiple times throughout the series, that helps just solidify an overarching look of cohesiveness among the collection. Now, at this point in the video, the pin design itself looks pretty good, and I probably could have called it a day right then and there. But I sometimes just like to add a few more details just because I can. And I got the idea that instead of it just being a straight line for the trim on her hood and also on her cloak, I wanted it to be kind of like a crenellation type shape. Crenellations are the, you know, on the top of a castle wall, how parts of it are up high and then it goes over and then down and over and up and over and down. That sort of look from like the top of a castle wall. I kind of wanted to bring that into this design. Like she has something a little fancier than just what is needed. I don't know why I wanted her to have that, but I just felt like her having something that looked like it wasn't just straight up functional. I thought that that was an interesting detail and kind of built the story for who she is, you know, visually. I always want people to look at these designs, to look at these characters, and to want to know more about the character. That's my personal goal. I want you to see it, like it, and want to know more about the character. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this design process. Please go ahead, like and subscribe. I will be posting a new pin design video every week. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day.